Hello everybody, hope your mornings are going well. Gonna get an early video in for you guys today, but today's gonna be the first episode of me yapping about our Dynasty League. So I know you guys have listened to me talk about our redraft a little bit. I also talked about my own personal league that I run, but today I'm gonna get into the Dynasty. And this is gonna be a little bit different because we're gonna have two power rankings that we're gonna be running simultaneously throughout the season. One of them is going to be for the entire season, just this season, similar to our redraft power rankings, who we think is going to win the chip this season. Secondly, we're going to be running a second power rankings that is going to run off of the overall dynasty. So the overall aspect of our league, how we think our picks are going to play out, how we think the young guys are going to play out, how we think the old guys are going to play out. So there's going to be another power ranking on that. That one is going to be a little more in depth, and that one I'm going to work a little more on throughout the season and fine tune. Right now, I kind of just have like a base off of what I kind of initially looked at. Obviously, some of the parts of it are very close, especially in the redraft. I mean, there are some parts of the redraft that are just very hard to kind of rank around. And then at the end, we're going to go through the schedule prediction per usual. So every week, we're going to have this video out, and at the end, we're going to go through the schedule, 5 games of the week. Not going to include mine per usual. Anyone that comes on is more than willing to talk about that game, though. So let's get right into it. And at the start, we're going to rip it off with our overall Dynasty power rankings. And these are going to be kind of how I think the league might pan out in a few years and where I think teams might kind of fall. I'm going to start this list from top to bottom because I think that's a little bit easier, in my opinion, to start off my thought process here. And I'm going to start with Makoff's team. And the reason that I'm putting Makoff's team here is he's number one mostly because I think he has the best blend of a team that can win it this year very easily, but also a team that isn't going anywhere. You know, like there aren't a lot of guys on his team that you're going to look at and say, okay, this guy's got a year left. This guy's got 2 years left. Like he's got Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Josh Allen, AJ Brown, Drake May. He's got a very young team. So a team that already can compete to win it all, and a team that is not that old in terms of comparisons to guys like me, Pinto, etc. He's going to be my number 1 slot. My number 2 slot to kind of 4 range was very similar. I put Alec at 2, kind of just because I kind of like where he's going this year. I think he's got a very good chance kind of with Tyler, but I also like the future a little more. Him and Tyler were kind of hard to rank here. I do like what Alex going though for with the future. I mean, his only big issue right now is running back. So obviously a long-term running back needs to kind of fall into play there. But he's got a very young receiving core: Ted McMillan, Romo Dunze, Zay Flowers, Drake London, Devonta Smith. Those guys are going to be around for a while, along with Caleb Williams and hopefully Kyler Murray. I mean, he's looking good so far. I think the Cardinals are going to be a sleeper team this year. And of course you have Brock Bowers at tight end. That's the tight end 1. He's young. He's a second-year guy. So you're gonna have the tight end handicap for many, many years to come. So I really like what Alex got going on overall in terms of that. Gonna kick it over to Tyler's team now, just to look at his lineup a little bit. And very similar to what he's saying. I mean, he's got Bijan Robinson similar to Bowers on his end. Bijan obviously a little bit of a better player, the RB, one of the RB1s. Not as much of a positional handicap though, because there are quality RBs right behind him. I'm going to put a little lower, though, because I do think that he's got a bit of more of a limit on what he can do. Obviously, this year you have the Rashee Rice suspension, so it's kind of hard there. But, I mean, Swift, Taylor, a bit older running backs. Even though he had the 2 running backs locked in, he doesn't have a Travion Henderson, who has a long-term potential, really long-term there. Obviously, both of those guys, I'm not saying don't have long potential, especially with JT. But a guy like DeAndre Swift, you could see potentially go after a year or 2. Pickens is also a free agent after this year, which if he doesn't go to a good situation, that could hurt him. And obviously, I mean, Rice too. You have some off-the-field issues with Rice. He's suspended this year. That's why I kind of just placed him under Alec right now. But I do think that there are 2 very good teams that are very built to win now, along with competing in the future. And I think that's kind of a theme that I put in through these rankings of I like teams that have a little more in place right now over the pick style, even if I think that you have so many picks that you could build a better team than what, say, Tyler has going on right now. But I'm going to move to my 4th slot, which is going to be Jeremy. And I'm not looking at this on the sleeper right now. Just looking at this on ESPN because I'm actually going to be following this up with my own personal leagues, power rankings, and schedule predictions right after this. If you want to tune into that also, I'd love to hear some feedback there. But forgive me if I missed out on some picks. I did look at them when I was doing the rankings, so I know Scott has a very good pick arsenal. Obviously, no Panch is a very good pick arsenal. I'll talk about those two in a second, why I ranked them the way they did. And I know Keyshav's pick arsenal is solid down there. But Jeremy I ranked down here because I think his team is just a little bit worse than what Alec and Tyler have going on right now. But I do think he's got the long-term potential, and he's building up something very quality here. He's got a lot of good rookies on his bench, too, that might not have a good year one impact, but could have a potential long-term impact. And obviously, Worthy going down is going to hurt him right now. But, I mean, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs, you've got Ricky Pearsall, you've got Travis Hunter, you've got J.J. and Burrow at quarterback. So he's got a very good foundation that's going to be in place for many years to come. And it's just kind of building off that foundation right now that Jeremy just has to do to kind of move up on these rankings a little bit overall long-term. And, of course, he just needs his guys to pan out. So we'll see how that looks out. But we're going to move into Scott and Panchez, though. But not even to gloss over Jeremy's, by the way. But I just kind of want to speed this up a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on these rankings. But moving over to Scott's team, I ranked him above Panchez just because I think they have a little more pieces in place right now. Obviously, Ladd McConkey, Ashton Genty, Devon A-Chain. He's got some very, very good pieces. Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott are two quality quarterbacks, to the point that Scott could have put up a fight on a week-to-week basis versus some of the competitive teams in the league on a good week. But his team just really isn't there. It's not that good. But he does have a really good pick arsenal, which is why I did rank him above Ben, more or less because he does have some of the foundation in place. I like what Ben's going on here. He's got Hurts, he's got Hampton, good receiving core. But beside that, in my opinion, that's really all he has. And when I kind of gloss over to Scott's team, I do like the fact that he's got the running backs a little higher, which is what I value here. I mean, Genty and A-Chain should be guys long-term in those positions compared to just having Hampton, who I don't know their thoughts on Hampton. I like Hampton a lot, but I do value Genty over Hampton. Obviously, you have Jalen Hurts, and kind of I'm not really valuing to a long term here. You've got Jalen Hurts compared to Dak and Herbert, which is like kind of a toss up. Obviously, Hurts is a better quarterback, but you only have one quarterback long term on your team right now. Egbuka, great player. Kind of no one really in comparison on Scott's team to that. Obviously, Scott has Loveland, Caleb Johnson on his bench, a couple first round rookies that are going to obviously step into time roles into their offense, or bigger roles in their offense. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Comparable to where Ben has honestly nobody on his bench. So obviously the teams are very similar, but it's kind of just where my thought process was behind putting Scott above Panchez. I have Pinto down here at the 8th slot, even though I'll talk more about Pinto in a little bit and his team. I do obviously like his team a lot, but I just think there are a lot of long-term question marks there, obviously, with guys like McCaffrey, a guy like Jake Ferguson, a guy like Chuba Hubbard, a guy like Deebo Samuel. And besides that, he has no bench to match up with that and no picks to kind of replace those guys. So a little hard for me to put him high. But I do have him at that 7th slot, right above Riley, who, in my opinion, is in a bit of a similar situation. Obviously, a little more long-term potential with Riley's team. But I think Pinto has some quality guys that kind of even it up. I mean, obviously, you have Bucky Irving to the Chase Brown. You've got Jettas to the CD, where I think CMC takes out Brees, even if Brees might have a better long-term aspect. Obviously, Jaden Daniels takes out all of Riley's quarterbacks, in my opinion. Having Jaden Daniels is huge in Dynasty. Riley does have a lot of older guys. I mean, Kelsey, Mike Evans, Jacoby Myers, Geno Smith. His bench is a lot better, though. I mean, obviously, J-Mo just got an extension, so he's a long-term guy, but like Darnold, who knows there. Goff, he needs to really step it up. Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, Ramondre. These are all guys that, Joe Mixon, after this year, what are they really going to do? But this year, it's good depth, though. But that's kind of why I have him there. Quick shout-out to my sponsor, Dr. Pepper. Moving into Keyshav's Sweeney range. I do like what Keyshav has pick-wise, but his team is probably like one of the worst in the league, the worst in the league probably. I'll go in there in a bit. It it is really bad. But the picks, he just has to pick, and I mean Panchis has more in place than Keyshav, and I'm looking at my rankings right now. I'll go into it in a second. Uh, yeah, I'll talk more about it in a second. But yeah, no, I do not like what Keyshav has in place right now. I mean, he's got Amon Ra, Tyler Warren, Brian Thomas. I don't know. I don't like this team. I don't know. It's no running backs. I don't like the team, to be honest. But he's got the picks, though, which is going to help boost this team in the future. But the foundation is a lot worse than a couple other people. And this is kind of where I'm saying, like, I kind of, like, need to put a little more thought in these because Keyshawn's, like, a weird team. It's, like, obviously Amon Ra, Brian Thomas, Bo Nix, like, those are guys that you like long term, but, like, I need to put some thought into where I think Trevor Lawrence really sticks out in the long term. But following that, I'm gonna put Sweeney at that 10 spot, and this is really because he has no bench, no QB2. All of his flexes are extremely old. His RB2 is old. His receiver 2 is old. His tight end is old. The only good things on his team really are Lamar, Kyron, and Marv. I mean, Quinshawn's already been a headache for him. Luther Burden isn't getting snaps. Harold Fanning on the bench. I mean, good pick by him, I guess, down there. Good grab on Harold Fanning. But, I mean, you could say that about a lot of teams, grabbing a random rookie in the 4th round. Like, I could say that about Riley's team. Good grab with Ollie Gordon. So, I mean, Sweeney's team, I just don't really like the long-term aspect. I think it's probably the worst, or the second worst, obviously, in the league. But I just don't think he's got, like, a chance to do much. It's just really not a good team. And then in that last spot for the overall Dynasty rankings, I'm going to put Poria. And that's because I just don't think that they've got much going on right now. And obviously they have a solid bit of picks. Like, I think they've got, like, an extra second rounder to work with right now. But their team's going to have to go under a big rehaul, and it's going to need some luck out of their guys that they don't really know what is going to happen with them. Kenneth Walker is kind of falling off. J.K. Dobbins, you don't have R.J. Harvey. Jerry Jeudy's getting older. Travis Etienne, I mean, he kind of got bailed there. So, I don't know. Shaheed, I'm not a fan of. You know I'm not a Shaheed fan on this channel. Trey Tucker, obviously, I mean, you're starting Trey Tucker at this point. Aaron Rodgers, when you look at your bench, I mean, you have Charbonnet, you've got Addison, you've got Arroyo, Torrey Horton, Dante Thornton, Braylon Allen. I think you guys they're gonna rebuild. Obviously, that's what they want to do. So I think it's the right path for them. And obviously, Jamar is a standing bright spot. Jordan Love, I guess, too. But a couple things just didn't work out in their favor, and they'll just have to recover. But we'll see how things go for them. But right now, I mean, Sweeney and Poirier are kind of in the same spot for me, where I think, and I guess Keyshav is kind of in the same spot too, interchangeable. It's kind of the bottom of the Dynasty rankings, in my opinion. But moving into our next thing, which is a little more enticing for me right now, at least. It's going to be our in-season rankings. And I had a hiccup there and put Sweeney's name twice. It's actually supposed to be before you at that 8th spot. But going into this season, at least after week 1, because I didn't manage to make this for the preseason, I'm going to have Pinto at that 1 spot. I think Pinto's got the best team in the league right now for this season. After Deebo Samuel's performance, it really shored up that last flex spot for me. I'm not a huge fan of Deebo, but he had a good week 1, so obviously the potential for him to perform like that is there on a week-to-week basis, hopefully. At least that's what Pinto's going to pray for with minimal depth. But overall, I mean, a lot of his guys did what he needed them to do. CMC came out and balled. Garrett Wilson looked good with Justin Fields. His biggest weakness is going to be tight end with Jake Ferguson. But I do think that can be fixed or dealt with. He has good tight end depth. I mean, Strange, Schultz, he can make a move. He has a couple leftover picks. So it's not out of the realm to say you can upgrade a tight end still this season. And then moving into that 2 slot, I am going to have Makoff, like I previously mentioned. I do think Makoff has a great chance to win it this year. He's got a great team. I don't want to gloss over the players again too much, as I already did. But like I said, I mean, Nico, A.J. Brown, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. You've got some good depth down there. Hollywood Brown should help you win a couple of weeks. You got Chris Godwin coming back eventually at some point this season. I like his team a lot. I think it's a really, really good, well-built team that is going to put up a fight against mine this year, because obviously I'm the best in DNC's and Dynasty rankings, but I couldn't put myself there. And then going into the 3rd slot, I have Tyler. Tyler's team, again, really solid. I like what he's done this year with it. Pickens is going to look really good this year, I think, in Dallas. Trey McBride, Bijan, JSN. He's got Trey Benson in that last flex spot, so that last flex is going to be a bit of a question mark for him for a little bit on what he's going to do there. Najee Harris is on his team as well. But eventually he's going to get Rashee Rice back, which is going to, and again, this is a long term, and he won the week without Rashee Rice, so that's always a positive in my eyes. Just isn't a full season what I think is going to happen in the end. So I think Tyler's going to end up, I like him in the 3 slot. And in that 4 slot, a lot of people diss on Riley's team in Dynasty. I think it's really good still. I am going to put him behind a little bit just because he is starting the season 0-1. He does have a couple more question marks. Not as much as Tyler, but a couple more than Makoff and Pinto, in my opinion. But, I mean, he's got some of the best depth in the league. He's got a lot of quality players that perform well. All of his guys are interchangeable on a week-to-week basis, which is a good or bad thing, because you don't want to get dealt with the guy that you started having 3 and the guy on your bench having 15, which Riley got screwed over with multiple times. So maybe we see a trade in the future to kind of limit that depth, maybe add some more star power on his team, but we'll see what happens. But I do like Riley in that 4 slot. Going down to our 5th slot, I'm going to have Alec, who surprisingly has turned himself into a playoff team. As I previously mentioned, he's got a really, really good receiving core. Obviously, he shored up that RB2 spot with Kamara for this season. Good quarterback room in Kyler and Caleb Williams. But an injury will devastate his lineup. Anywhere if he gets an injury. He has no depth. So hopefully that doesn't happen to him. Or I hope it does, but obviously hope it doesn't. And then moving into our 6th spot, we're going to have Sweeney. And obviously Sweeney has a team built for this year. Cooper Kupp, Tony Pollard, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. So maybe he could put up a fight this year. His QB2 Spencer Rattler, though, which means I can't really put him above any team that's actually trying to win this year, which is where we kind of fall into the teams that I think are not trying to win it all this year, obviously. And that starts with Jeremy. And I think Jeremy has one of the better win now this year teams for the teams that don't want to win, if that makes any sense. Burrow, he makes the move for Eckler as his RB2. Worthy's already hurt. He's going to be starting. He's using up the last of his depth that he has. So another injury and he's dead. Obviously no real RB depth for the bye weeks. So Jeremy's going to be in that 7th slot. And then obviously Poirier's trying to tank. I'm going to have them in that 8th slot this year. Aaron Rodgers obviously balled out for them last week. And I do think that they overall have a couple pieces that could help them win this year. Obviously Travis Etienne, Jamar Chase, Jordan Love. But they do have a couple more question marks. I think Jeremy has some more guys that are going to be consistent on a week-to-week basis, like a Travis Hunter, a Jahmyr Gibbs, a Joe Burrow, even like a Ricky Pearsall potentially. So I'm going to have Jeremy above Poirier, but I am going to have Poirier in that 8th slot, which is where we're going to fall into our devastatingly bad tier of teams. And that's going to start with Scott, who I think is the worst of the trash. He's only having to start Calvin Austin, so that's a solid, I guess. Chigo Okonkwo, Christian Kirk. Yeah, Scott is the best of the worst. And then we're going to go into Keyshav. Keyshav is only having to start Ray Davis and Marvin Mims. And I guess Keon Coleman is looking up right now. I mean, just having no RB2 is just like completely is going to put him behind Scott. At least Scott has like a lineup to use. But I mean, I can't expect Keon Coleman to have good weeks every week. The game script favored him at the end of that game and he balled out, but the beginning of that game, it did not look like it was his game at all. So who knows there? Dylan Sampson's going to get some Judkins work in eventually at some point this season, so he won't be a full RB one anymore there for Keyshav. But he's in the middle of the pack with the trash. And then the bottom of the barrel, the worst team in the league, the Tankers, Panchez, in my opinion. Which, when I think about it, I was like, I don't know. Because I was like, their team actually isn't, like, terrible this year. I mean, they're starting Shakir, Jawan, Njoku, Goddard, Ibuka, Puka. But I did think about it a little more. I mean, I guess, actually, this is where I was, like, questioning myself. Because I was like, I think Keyshav's team is worse than Panchez's, actually. Like, if I could, like, make that edit in the power rankings, at this point, if you're watching it, I would put Panchez at 10, Keyshav at 11. And that's just, and, like, those teams are easily the worst. I mean, Ray Davis, Manungai is your two RBs. It's just, like, yeah, no, both those teams are just terrible. I don't even want to talk about them anymore, honestly. Both those teams are just straight terrible. Bottom of the barrel this year. They're going to try to lose every game, and that's the goal. Moving into our games, our first game we're going to talk about is going to be Prince and Soria versus Sweeney. And these are going to be a little bit easier to talk about because there are going to be some matchups that obviously I don't think are going to go in anyone's favor. But this matchup, actually, I think is going to go a little differently than people think. I don't think that Sweeney comes out on top in this one. I think that Poria is going to try to lose this matchup. I don't know who they're going to start over Trey Tucker in that lineup, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think Jamar's going to have a big week. K9 might be due. Jordan Love might be due. We might see some big weeks. Travis Etienne, obviously, no comp anymore. I don't really like what Sweeney has going on right now. I'm going to pull it up on my end again a little clearer. Just going to read the matchups a little better. But again, like, I mean, I guess Sweeney has some good matchups on his side, but I just think that Spencer Rattler's going to have a terrible game. So I'm going to take an upset here, go with my gut, something I didn't do last week in redraft with Levitz upsetting Tyler. So I think that Soria is going to pull out the win this week versus Sweeney. And then moving into our second game, we're going to get into Keyshaw versus Riley. I don't want to talk about this one too much. Riley's going to come out on top. It's my prediction. Keyshaw wants to lose. That's just how it's going to be. Riley's going to come out. He's going to dominate Keyshaw. Hey, yo, my bad, Keyshaw, my bad. But this is going to be a murder, I think. I don't think Keyshaw stands a chance. But I do think some of his guys are going to play good. I think Bo Nix is going to have a good week. But I do think Riley's lineup is just too quality to let Keyshaw stand a chance. Moving into our third game, we're going to have Makoff versus Sanchez, which, again, I don't want to talk about this one too much. This is going to be a blowout. Makoff is easily going to win this matchup. I think potentially we might see it by 30-plus points. Panchez obviously wants to lose. Manungai is their RB2 right now. Roshan should be back, meaning Manungai might get like 10 snaps a game, maybe less, maybe like 6. So we'll see how that pans out. But I do think that Makoff is going to beat Panchez. And then moving into a little bit more of a compy matchup, we're going to have Pinto versus Tyler. But I think, again, I don't want to talk too much about this because I think this is going to be a matchup where Pinto kind of, you know what, I will talk a little bit more about this one. I think that Pinto really is going to kind of show what he's worth in this matchup. And I think that Tyler he's obviously trying to contend. He's not without Rashee Rice this week, which is going to hurt him going against Pinto. But I think Pinto's just going to show that he's the top dog right now in the league. He's going to beat Tyler's team. He's going to put up a lot of points. And I think the only thing that actually I just realized is that Brock Purdy might be out this week. He obviously has Mac Jones on his bench, so Mac Jones will be in the lineup if that does happen. But I don't know if Mac Jones is enough to help him beat Tyler. But I do think his top half of the lineup is going to perform. Obviously, McCaffrey, Bucky, Jaden Daniels, Jettas, Garrett Wilson. It's hard to beat that when you're looking at Fields, Taylor, Swift, Higgins, Pickens. So I'm going to go with Pinto on this one. Obviously, I hope Higgins and Pickens have a big game. That would be huge for the culture. But I do think Pinto is going to put up probably 170, 180 without Purdy this week probably, which is a really, really high number. And then our final matchup, we're going to have probably the closest one of the week, probably the game of the week for us. And it's going to be Scott versus Jeremy. And I am going to declare this one my game of the week. Two 0-1 teams. Probably because every other game is pretty trash. Actually, realistically, probably game of the week is me versus Alec right now. If Purdy doesn't play, it would probably go to Pinto Tyler instead. But right now, I'm calling in Jeremy Scott. The battle of the 8th seed, potentially. And I think Jeremy's going to come out on top in this one. I know Scott is actually favored in this matchup, but I do like what Jeremy's got going on. I think Ricky's going to have a big game. I think Gibbs is going to have a good game. Burrow. I don't know how we're going to see A-Chain perform against that New England front. Obviously, Vrabel's a good defensive coach. Ashton Genty going against the Chargers. We mentioned that yesterday. It's a hard matchup for him, but he should get the touches. Herbert should have a good game with McConkey against that Raiders defense, and Prescott should do solid against the Giants. But I do like what JJ has going against the Atlanta Falcons. That should be a really good matchup for him. Jalen Waddle, he's going against New England too, so we'll see what happens there. But he's the receiver too. And if Gonzo's out, that means he's probably going to be guarded by a pretty bad corner, which will help him out a lot. And obviously Burrow and Gibbs are really, really solid matchups for them. Obviously Jacksonville for Burrow and Chicago versus Detroit. So we'll see what happens there. I think Detroit is going to be due for a little bit of a revenge game. And then, yeah, I believe that is actually all I have for you guys today. So a little bit of a shorter video, about 27 minutes. I kind of rushed through this one a little bit, just because I am going to be recording another video today. So I hope you guys also watch that one, hear my thoughts on that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me any feedback that you guys can. Next week, since I know I'm going to be doing this, instead of just kind of trying to rush this video out, I'm going to put a little more thought into the rankings. I'm going to try to update my Dynasty rankings, even though those will probably not be updated unless we see major moves or waiver wire pickups that are crucial throughout the season, or obviously rookies step into major roles into their teams and you see a JCM pop out and be a huge guy. Obviously, like, he would be a huge pickup for my team, my overall Dynasty ranking, even though I'm not ranking my team. But yeah, so overall, just give me any input that you guys want, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to hop on one of these videos with me, I think I'm going to be changing these to Thursdays. So Thursday mornings, I'm going to try and pop this video out for you guys. Obviously, I'm sending it out this Wednesday, but I believe that every Thursday morning, I'm going to have these ones out. So if you're ever free on a Thursday and you want to hop on a call with me and talk Dynasty Ball, let's do it. But thank you guys for watching. Let's tune into the next one. I'll see you guys later.